No lie, it's been a little while since I've gone over a Superman tier being, especially a speedster. It's been a little while, but today I'll be going over Barry Allen, one of the characters I actually haven't went over on the channel when it comes to just analyzing how strong he is. And when I say strong, that means how hard he can hit based on his raw attack speed, combat speed, and etc. He's one of those speedster type characters where a lot of his punching power is because of his raw speed. He's not necessarily strong enough to lift stuff up, but it don't freaking matter. He can punch with the force to be able to harm beings like freaking Superman. He is indeed a Superman tier. But before I go any farther, no, seriously, it does help out a lot. Thank you all that have donated to the channel. Appreciate it a lot. Barry Allen is a CSI officer. He was in the lab during the night and got hit by a lightning bolt in this pre-crisis era, of course. Yeah, he has a lot of history, so not gonna waste any more time. Let's get into how strong he actually is. And the whole reason he's even freaking fast like this is because this extra dimensional energy known as the Speed Force. You already know the stuff, the map of the DC multiverse. His power source is literally bigger than all the universes. Yeah, that's where all the speedsters get their speed, stuff like that. But let me continue. Obviously, he's too fast for cars. It's like they're standing still in comparison to his speed. I shouldn't even have to make a flash video and explain that he can go faster than the sound barrier. It's kind of insulting being able to go supersonic. Of course he can. He's a freaking speedster in DC. Can use his raw speed to even run on water. He moves so fast, he's consistently making after images, and there's occasion when Captain Cold, Battle Feet, stuff like that. He's moved too fast to even be captured by shutter speed. It even states here, shutter speed clicking at 1/100,000th of a second. Still couldn't capture him. It's too fast for the shutter speed. Of course, he can create a vortex, aka tornado, with his raw speed. Oh, no big deal. I just got to run to Paris right fast. Oh, and I do it in a matter of moments. Just raw speed. Barry Allen runs to Paris to Cairo in a matter of moments. Just keep in mind that the distance between Paris and Cairo, yes, I went on Google, is 1,996 miles, and he did this with ease. This dude ran from Cairo to Mount Everest. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is. He went there before the avalanche could reach the station. It's literally stated on Pounder he could run well over 25,000 miles per hour. He's even able to travel close to the speed of light and pushes through the time barrier because he has really good vibrations as well. It states here, time barrier. Some scientists theorize, states he wants to go faster, blah, 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 blah. You know, epic stuff that Flash can do. His raw speed is just insane. They're like literally narrating some ridiculous numbers over here, running up a building so fast. It states here, 3 out of 1/1,000,000th of a second later. Like, really though? They actually took the time to type 3/1,000,000th of a second. That's like pretty specific. Usually they don't get that specific in comics. Barry Allen is so fast, he runs at the speed of light to escape a radiation treadmill trap. Like, look at this. Looking at his legs. Gotta speed it up. Trapped in the speed machine. He breaks through by doing so. He states here, I got to go faster, much faster. 100 miles a second, not fast enough. 180,000 miles per second, just a little faster. And I'll know if my theory is correct. But then a moment later, I'm free. I'm faster than light speed. My faster than light speed shot me through the machine, through the lab building, and 8 times around the world in 1 second. Yeah, he was definitely moving the speed of light. Narration, pretty freaking clear. New 52 isn't the only Flash that actually did cloud hopping. Don't ask me about the freaking physics, but yes, he's able to do cloud hopping. Wouldn't you want to see this in live action? Dude, back in the day, they was real specific with these calculations. Like, they gave accurate numbers, or like they detailed the numbers. He literally ran and crossed a metal thing 2,865,589 trips and 3.5 seconds later. That's a pretty specific number, yo. Instead of just being like using puns. That's some insane speed. Time travel stuff even back then, the prehistoric world, you know, cool stuff. Outraces a light speed laser beam headed towards Central City, disperses it. Isn't that freaking epic? Another occasion of him going faster than light without being trapped in the Speed Force. You're probably thinking, what the heck? Yeah, and evidently in DC, they make it seem like if they go fast and light, they get trapped in the Speed Force, but there's plenty of feats of them going fast and light and not getting trapped in the Speed Force. Also, people in DC that are fast and light that don't get trapped in the Speed Force, but yet somehow he has to go fast and light to get trapped in the Speed Force. You know, you guys have probably seen it in my Wally videos. He can even spin at faster than light speeds. Green Lanterns have a hard time keeping pace with them. Duh, and they're really fast. They can travel across galaxies really fast too, so. Heck, he was even able to run from them at light speed. Fighting Zoom, here's some lore on how they work. It states, I've matched you in every way. I was even able to duplicate the aura that surrounds your uniform and protects you from the heat caused by air friction at super speed. Stuff like that. That's the explanation they haven't had for him back then. Here's another occasion of Barry Allen Flash moving faster than light. He was able to move 7 times the speed of light. They even go into detail about his speed. Right here, it says faster even until I've reached Romer 7. moving at 1,100,000 miles per second. The fastest man on Earth darts straight for the barricade of radiation. He's moving that fast. Video just started, and he's proved to not only run 7 times the speed of light, but he has shown to be able to run 10 times the speed of light, going Romer 10. Even when he's weakened, he can run at a 10th of the speed of light in this particular occasion. Running around the world during this pre-crisis era is something light work for him. See how they draw it right here, just zipping across the planet, raw speed. It was straight up stated that they both, Superman and Flash, can go faster than light. That's an obvious duh, because we already know how fast pre-crisis Superman is. Oh, you don't? Oh, give me a second. I'll show you right fast. Flash is meant to be faster than Superman, but in this particular occasion, they tied the race. He did it on purpose because it was like a charity, because the gamblers can't get their due. You know what I mean? It was a purpose. The fact that Superman and Flash had the race on a track that was 40,000 light years wide lets you know how fast these guys are. But this time, you have a race course worthy of you, our universe, the Milky Way galaxy. You see, the Earth's solar system is some 30,000 light years from the galaxy center and 20,000 light years from the edge. You two will race from Earth to the closest end and back, a mere matter 40,000 light years, just under 240,000 trillion miles. They're moving so far beyond light speed that it's almost hard to fathom, because they're literally racing around the freaking galaxy, basically. They remain neck and neck for dozens of light years. During these days in comics, they was really ambiguous with the just making it clear who was faster. It was kind of like a suspense thing to make you get the next comic. They just kind of leave it up to the reader's interpretation. You guys know my famous statement: whatever Superman can do in speed, even in pre-crisis era, I would say Barry Allen Flash could do better in speed. Let's not forget how fast pre-crisis Superman is, man. Dude, it states here, Superman bursts to the very bounds of infinity. He's basically able to cross the universe in seconds. Just ridiculousness. Superman is ridiculously fast when it comes to raw speed. Flew to a dead universe so he can sneeze. This is that solar system sneezing feat, of course. And I don't know about you guys, but whatever freaking Superman can do in speed, I would say the Flash can do better. Even Barry Allen, even if it's not Wally West. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these two freaking had to race across freaking galaxies. And if Flash wants to leave the planet, he can indeed leave the planet. All he has to do is run round and around the world and then just achieve escape velocity and rockets off the freaking Earth like a darn propeller. You know what I mean? Going against people that have similar speed to him, reverse Flash, you know, racing around the world, doing so. Epic stuff. Oh, he likes to exercise. He does like, oh, the fastest man alive just returned home after a 3-minute, 75,000 mile super speed jog, because you got to stay in shape, right? Do I have to say this, guys? Flash is so fast, whatever his travel speed is, his combat speed is the equivalent. He can use this raw speed in combat. So his combat speed and travel speed are the same in this particular case, right? I mean, to be able to make sharp turns with your travel speed shows your combat speed. He was able to rebuild the pyramid. That's a display of combat speed to me. He was able to dodge between radiation bursts. He's had plenty of occasions fighting Grodd. He was able to blitz Grodd, one of his arch foes. Just raw speed, ignites the hydrogen in the air, stuff like that. He can steal stuff off your wrist without you even noticing. He hits Gorilla Grodd a whole bunch of times before he can even blink. Combat speed. And of course, he can dodge lightning. Don't ask, he got it like an altercation with Poseidon. Yeah, so he shot this bolt towards the Flash at the speed of light. He outran this light speed bolt, running around the world in the process because he's that fast, to come back in a moment later where he started, and Flash smashes into his foe. Raw freaking speed. This is absolutely hilarious. The Blob Flash. What makes Flash so dangerous, he can land thousands of blows. His fist, he can do a lot of damage. That's the great thing about Flash. He can hit you 1,000 times before you even get a chance to blink. This can make up for the power he might actually lack, but you know, it's like he hit you once because you hit that many times before you can blink. It's like, that's just one hit. Oh, by the way, he blitzes Grodd in this occasion. He wouldn't be the Flash if he couldn't dodge bullets. That's just super light work. Even because like Batman can dodge bullets. Of course the Flash can. Grabs these little incendiary bullets. Can you imagine having the ability to do super speed building and how convenient that would be? Just building residences. He was able to put Abracadabra in the path of his own like hypno beam, which moves at the speed of light. He can even avoid Ultraman's heat vision. Yes, Ultraman was back in the pre-crisis days. Don't ask. I'm pretty sure you believe me when I say he's Superman tier, but if you have your doubts, he was able to destroy the Anti-Monitor's antimatter cannon. He died in the process, sacrificing himself, but the fact he was able to do major damage to Anti-Monitor is pretty freaking insane, saving the universe, multiverse in the process. Anti-Monitor is like a abstract level being, doing so in the process. This big event needs to be in live action with super duper big budget. How are we going to test out which lock is the right lock? Well, why don't we just try out every single lock? Maybe even 100,000 different type of locks. To figure out which one will work, we just gonna figure this out today. This is just ridiculously ludicrous speed. He appears to be Flash and Barry at the same time by switching outfits. Like, to the human eye cannot perceive that he's being in two places at once, literally too fast. It states here, what we can't see is Barry leaping out of bed, switching to the patched face Flash, changing back to Barry again as he removes the patch and daps his bruise with makeup so fast that his continuous action gives the illusion of being in two places at the same time. He can reach the core of the planet in a nanosecond, which is 1/1000th of a second. No big deal. He could just go deep inside the planet that fast. And, even though it's a big planet, just that fast. He saves the president from a laser that was already freaking fired with raw freaking speed. I mean, he better be able to do this. We're talking about the same guy that can catch a bullet with his freaking teeth. This is why I say his combat speed and travel speed scales to one another. They're basically the same thing. He can literally think fast and light. He can use his speed to counter a mind reader that might know your next move, but even if you know his next move, he can just speed up his mind to the point where you can't really figure out what's going on because it's happening too fast. Just because you can read his mind doesn't mean you can be able to stop what he's about to do next, because you got to be able to process it at a certain speed. Flash can just straight up speed blitz you. Even if you know what he's going to do, you can't stop or counter it. Just gives you little small ideas of what he can do when it comes to power. He can just knock you down even if he's shrunk, showing he can produce a lot of power, even without his mass being super big. I mean, he's at least able to carry gorillas like Salivar. He can just swing you around like a baton, like grown behind people. I can beat you like a stick. Even a spun out of control car, he helps, put it in the right path. Even if it's small battle feats, I love the little small battle feats like this. Barry and Hal Jordan beating the crap out of some aliens together. This is just satisfying. I love the Green Lantern and Flash dynamic in all continuities. Just little small showings of his straight up attack power. Strikes, chops. He can even shatter animated statues coming at him with his freaking super speed, showing his striking power. Earlier, he's actually able to beat up Ultraman as well. Look at that. It states here, the air pressure shaking me up, can hardly think straight. Flash will win unless I do what Owlman advised in such an emergency. He can thrust his fist through the air so fast, it's kind of like compressed air punches where you can hit somebody from far away with just compressed air punches. I guess you can think of it like All Might punching something with just air from his just friction of his punching speed. That's what I'm thinking it's like, right? He can chop trees, easy stuff. Reverse Flash, And yes, he can even chop a shotgun. Chop, 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 chop. Light work feats, but he was able to drill through ice that was harder than concrete. This is little cool stuff I just like to show that he basically has super strength. I mean, let's be honest. When you can punch this fast, you basically have super strength punches. You know what I mean? He even destroys a tank in the process because of striking power. Does this to a huge chunk of concrete and cement. For those that are curious and didn't listen to what I said earlier, I'm going to say it again. During the pre-crisis era, they explained it like he had an aura. His body with an aura invisible radiation that safeguards his body as he travels at super speed, which is why he doesn't get burned up. Stuff like that. And have you ever wondered that the people that he's holding, why don't they burn up? Because the aura extends to them, who he's holding them. So yeah, that's why they don't get whiplash, and that's why they don't get incinerated into ash from going that fast. You know what I mean? It states here, protected by the same aura about Flash's body that prevents his uniform from burning up with the friction of his speed. Men and women make the journey too safely. Yep, because what would be the point of saving people at these levels of speed if they died in the process? That would defeat the whole purpose. This is evident in the fact that he can slam into brick walls without injury. He has insane durability. Just like slamming into Mirror Master's mirrors and slamming into gold without injury. Taking attacks from beings like Poseidon without actually dying, so it shows that he has some sort of level of durability. Captain Cold uses ice because ice is a counter to freaking speed. Flash was even able to resist absolute freaking zero, might I add. Somebody give this guy a medal. He can hold his breath for 2 minutes. More occasion of his striking power. Vibration is one of his main methods of his punching power, hitting this shadow creature with enough force to casually put out atomic bomb levels of power. I've set up shockwaves equal to those created by a small atom bomb. He can accidentally cause a tidal wave. If you're stuck in ice, he can shatter out, like in this case with Garrick. He can vibrate so good, it can actually bend metal bars. Even if you're a giant and you got a hold on him, he can vibrate so much to where you are forced to have to let him go. If he's on the wrong planet, like say, the moon or something, he can slingshot himself back to freaking Earth. He can close a dimensional breach. It states here, by vibrating at super speed, I can bring the subatomic particles together in this aperture and seal it up so that those aliens can never break through to invade Earth again. At super speed, the Crimson Comet sews up the dimension break which allowed the aliens to enter in the first place. Raw speed can like create a bullet shield because of vibration speed. It states here, vibrations that act like a bulletproof shield. Not to mention he has super speed healing, right? Man, why you doing them like that? Bullying these normal people. You guys already know that he can pretty much go intangible by phasing at a certain speed. What if I told you he can phase other things at a certain speed to where he's not the only one intangible, everything, even the object is intangible and they don't get hurt in the process? That's freaking epic. This is one thing a lot of people don't know about him. He kind of has complete control over his molecules. He literally got turned into glass, but he literally melted himself down, like legitly, right? And reformed his original body. That's pretty freaking hacksy. Like, how the heck do you even kill him if he could just do something like this? Very technical with his abilities. This dude, Flash, literally countered being turned into a puppet. Yeah, don't ask me. The goofiness continues. He manipulates his brain molecules somehow to spread throughout his body to pretty much be able to take control of his body back. Ain't that freaking crazy? Have you ever freaking wondered how the heck is the Flash gonna freaking move in space? Tell me why. There's a counter for that. He states here, by maintaining ultra-swift internal vibrations, I can eject thousands of atoms per second, giving me enough jet-propelled thrust to keep accelerating my speed so he can keep moving in freaking space. Don't ask. That's insane, though. Well, let's just say it. Flash pretty much has resistance to transmutation. He can literally turn himself back to normal, even if he is turned to literal neon. Yep, he's literally neon. No, he's literally not flesh and bone no more. And he says, my super speed gives me complete control over the atoms of my body, no matter what shape it's in, using molecular friction to bend the neon tubing into the outline of a man. But how will I ever change myself back to flesh and bone? I am becoming my real self again. Yeah, he can pretty much counter like super hacksy stuff because pretty much having control of your molecules. He literally turned to antimatter and then turned back. He literally compressed all of his molecules into his Flash ring. Do you see this crap? It's like he's a darn genie. And yes, he can actually counter cold. He was able to create enough friction to where Captain Cold's gun doesn't have no effect on him, even if it does actually manage to hit. Oh, by the way, he can vibrate so fast, he can just go to a whole nother universe, like, oh, another dimension like Earth 2. No big deal. Yeah, time traveling 500 years into the future. Runs past the time barrier, enters the fourth dimension of time. You know, just raw speed. Remember that time he accidentally traveled to Earth 2? Because of raw speed by accident? Oh yeah, you best believe it. He has turned back time before, just so people won't know his identity. For those that don't believe that his combat speed and travel speed are, it was literally stated he vibrated his arms at light speed. It states here, and by vibrating his arms at close to light speed, builds up a cushion of air on the way to land safely. Night-Night Weather Wizard, one of the people in his robes with compressed air. Night-Night. He can push back a flood with a cyclone speed. Look at his hands. His attacks can actually do this to Ultraman. That's impressive. I know I keep going back to this Poseidon man, but trust me, this is cool though. It states here, by whirling around the Olympian, the fastest man on Earth causes him to rotate in such an incredible rate that Poseidon burrows straight down into the Earth like an oil drill. He states here, this is bound to knock him out. This dude's fighting a literal god, Poseidon. Yeah, but this didn't really work. Poseidon countered it and froze him on the spot. Yeah, he's literally fighting Poseidon. How awesome is that? He can move or redirect storm clouds with his velocity. Just look at his hands rotating. Just epic. How does this even work? Just running on actual light? Running on photons? It states here, photons are the subatomic particles which compose light. He can literally run on top of this. Are you freaking kidding? He can literally blow away bullets with his super... No, I'm not talking about blow away like as in like punch it away. I'm talking about with his breath. Blows it away. This guy, Flash, ran on the molecules of air heated by a beam. Are you freaking crazy? I think it's just epic that he built the cosmic treadmill, which is a time-traveling apparatus, intellect feat, stuff like that. You ever heard of the term practice makes perfect? Well, since the Flash has super speed, a lot more compared to other people, he could practice something that it would take somebody else normally years to do. He can practice it in seconds because technically, he could practice it a lot more than you can in years in that second, right? Because he's just that fast, right? Not fair. I know. Cheat code. I know. Yawn, curb stomps, more weaklings. Get your popcorn, because I'm not done yet. Post-crisis stuff. Oh boy. It gets a little confusing with the retcons, but you know how they like to reset power levels. But technically, it's kind of the same guy from Crisis on Infinite Earths, aka pre-Crisis Barry Allen is still post-Crisis Barry Allen, but I could see if you would like to separate them because a lot of people do like to separate them. You know what I mean? Just for confusion's sake. because they did change power levels quite a bit in post-crisis, you know, so it's only fair. Here's some lore for Barry Allen. He is evidently the being that gave himself powers in the first place. Yeah, it's kind of like a time loop. Never been a fan of time loops because you're just like, dang, you're just destined to get your powers. He chases and catches a tachyon moving at 100 times the speed of light. In this particular, it states here, which is going hundreds of times faster than the speed of light. He said, but I can't move that fast. It will kill me, he says. Yeah, right. Of course he can do it. The light barrier, you see all this? And he is literally the lightning bolt that gave himself powers in the first place. So no, it was not just a random lightning bolt that just gave him powers. It's Speed Force related. It's kind of like his destiny related. You know that feat versus Anti-Monitor? They keep on going over it again in different stories to really emphasize how powerful it was. He was able to generate more energy than the antimatter cannon could take. He truly was a hero in this particular event, thanks to his almighty speed. I don't care what kind of Flash you are, but every Flash can run thousands of times the speed of sound. Oh yeah, and by the way, here's that statement I was talking about earlier. My only hope, my universe's only hope, is that I can generate more energy than this thing can take. It was stated that he was so fast that Barry could race the beam of a flashlight or into other dimensions. It's incredible that a lot of people consider Wally West the fastest Flash. Barry Allen is no slouch because he's still faster than ridiculously fast people like Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and even freaking Superman in raw speed. Whatever they can do in speed, he can do better. Not just Wally, by the way. And yes, they talk about the other races in the past. They were just for charity, and he let him win. So yes, Barry is still faster than Superman also. Keep in mind that Superman is the same being that flew from out of the solar system back to Earth in an extremely short amount of time, and Flash is faster than Superman whenever it comes to the aspect of speed. Barry Allen, faster than Superman. Keep in mind that Green Lanterns can casually move at 87 quadrillion times the speed of light, and Flash is indeed faster than these beings when it comes to raw speed. In his base, without being trapped in the Speed Force, without going to his absolute limit, he has to be faster than these guys. Or what would be the point of him even being the fastest man alive? These beings are alive when he's alive, right? I swear, heroic deeds in movies that happen at super speed is underrated and needs to be utilized more. He stops these little girders. Oh yeah, by the way, helicopter blades are slow to him. He can step on the helicopter blades while they're in mid motion because he's too fast. And this is actually considered light work to him. Save the day in the process. When two speedsters can have a deep conversation in under a minute, that would probably take all day for somebody else. Might I add, it was a heartfelt conversation. And they talked about it real quick, all these darn speedsters. Yep. And yes, he can indeed catch bullets mid-flight, duh. Another occasion of him catching bullets mid-flight, just in case you had your doubts. Fast enough to deassemble car mid-flight. I've always say this over and over again. His travel speed and combat speed is like the same thing. He literally evacuated an entire apartment, saved the people in there, raw speed, does speed reading to learn how to rebuild stuff. Oh my gosh. Rebuilds it all up in the process. There's like this reoccurring question that I see in the community. Everybody always asks the question, if the Flash can just read stuff and retain that knowledge that fast, couldn't he just be the most stoppable being ever? Couldn't he just read the entire library, all the libraries in the world for that matter, and just retain all that knowledge forever and just be like the best fighter or something? Like, couldn't he technically train like a certain martial arts really fast and learn it a lot more fast than a lot of other fighters in the universe? You know what I mean? It's a lot of perception about that why isn't he just the best at everything? Because he has so much time compared to everybody else to learn stuff. Because of his super speed reading to be able to retain knowledge. Comics has actually answered this question. They explain it pretty well, I would say, right? I read some books and you read some books. I can shove a library's worth of information into my head and keep it rattling around there long enough to use it. Right, your speed reading. It states short-term memory filled to the brim at super speed, but it disappears just as quick. So yeah, that's why he's just not the best fighter in the DC universe, because technically he should just be able to just train instantly and just learn it all, right? And keep it, right? Every era of the Flash, no matter if they retcon or not, they seem to have their new explanation on how their Speed Force abilities work. In pre-crisis era, he had like an aura. They didn't really explain the Speed Force that in depth. But in the post-crisis era, they kind of explain his powers a little bit more and how his Speed Force powers works. It's an extra dimensional energy source, like you already know, that exists outside the multiverse, stuff like that, right? One could say Barry is basically the Speed Force, or one could say he created the Speed Force itself. It's stated here, when you were hit by the bolt of lightning, you didn't tap into the Speed Force, you created it. When you run, you generate the kinetic wall between the present and time barrier. It's an electrical energy that exists in every dimension, every universe, and every era. It touches every part of reality. It contains the knowledge of every place and time. The Speed Force is the all-encompassing Flash fact. And yet it is stated here again, you're the generator of this freaking Speed Force. Kind of like the keystone to the Speed Force. They explain the lore here. It says, no, I'm from a parallel Earth, one of 52 worlds that comprise the multiverse, and 51 of them will continue to exist as long as this world survives. Your Earth is the keystone to all others, just like you are the keystone to the Speed Force, the single greatest time anomaly to threaten reality. Something horrible is about to alter your history. This dude accidentally killed Savitar because Savitar escaped the Speed Force through him, but he actually got disintegrated in the process. He even states, what the heck did I just do? Some kind of feedback. I can't slow down. If Flash wanted to be really hacksy, he could technically pull you into the Speed Force, which is like a whole nother reality, because he can straight up enter the Speed Force himself, because that's the connection he has with the Speed Force. There's benefits to having the Speed Force aura. It slows the aging of a Speed Force person, but also those that are near him. It states here, aren't you wondering why Iris doesn't look a day older than the day you left her? The Speed Force isn't simply fuel to amplify acceleration. That's the only part of it. It's knowledge and evolution. Every scientist, you holy grail, battle feat, fighting other speedsters, stuff like that. So basically, if you spend too much time with Flash, like Flash's wife, then you will get slower aging. The Flash was able to counteract the mind-enslaving forces of the anti-life equation because the Speed Force aura can just do that. You know, that same anti-life equation that Darkseid is obsessed with? Yeah, that same thing. Knocking out lightweights, even by catching a bullet, boom, get punched. Pushes Solivar through a wall, get murked. Lantern Solivar, might add. Cleave metal with chops from his hand. Isn't that epic? He's gotten battle feats with Green Lanterns, of course. He can phase through Green Lantern constructs, even though they're made of light constructs. It's kind of deadly to the fact that he can go intangible when he wishes. Oh yeah, Blue Lantern. When you can time travel 2 seconds in the future to evade Black Lantern rings, that's very convenient. Kind of like a hack's way to evade it, because he's just that freaking fast, right? You see it chasing him? Connection severed, connection severed. Raw freaking speed. But he did state without a cosmic treadmill, time travel is guesswork. It's even implied here when it comes to, just the lore of Flash. It states here, Wally and I once ran so fast we ran into the distant past. When we eventually found our way back, my mind saw a glimpse of an idea, presumably from the Speed Force, and I spent the next few weeks, which I stretched into relative years, designing the cosmic treadmill. It allowed me to calibrate the exact era we would run to without the treadmill. We wouldn't have any control over where we landed. So yeah, precise time travel, the treadmill, right? Kind of like a tech feat. I gotta admit, this type of story in live action will be insane. All this Black Lantern stuff, this Lantern Darkest Day stuff, Barry Allen of Earth. You learn to hold on to hope despite your past. You move forward with faith in tomorrow. You instill that trust in those around you. Despite the odds, you never stop. You are truly hope's messenger. It makes sense. He's a hopeful type of character. He was chosen to be the freaking Blue Lantern. Overpowered in this state because he was already a Superman tier. But yeah, as a Blue Lantern, yeah. Welcome to the Blue Lantern Corps. I thought you never asked. My name is Barry Allen. For the last 48 hours, I've been doing my best to bury my feelings. Still seems to retain his super speed on top of being a lantern. Isn't that freaking epic? Look at his eyes, but there's still hope. One can say this is a temporary power because they can't take away his whole mojo of being the Flash. It's like a special event, so of course, him being the Flash and Blue, just kind of like a treat. High priestess of Savitar's cult, get murked. Ha! Logically speaking, being called the fastest man alive, one could say he should have at least speed on par or faster than characters like Darkseid and Highfather when it comes to raw speed, who are ridiculously fast enough to fly from Earth to the source wall in a matter of moments, which should be quintillions of times the speed of light. Flash should be on this speed or even better. The more impressive the speed people in this universe are, it kind of makes the Flashes look more impressive. Because if you're not a Speed Force speedster type based character and other characters are still this fast, that lets you know what a speedster can do just from scaling upwards, right? Let me stop messing around and let me move on to the New 52 era. We getting down to the nitty gritty, y'all. Each era seems to have their own set of rules and abilities that seem to don't be put into play. That's why I'm breaking it down into eras, guys. Just even though Barry Allen, Flash is still the same Barry Allen from pre-crisis, right? If that makes any sense. But let me continue.
Well, for starters, Superman even stated that Flash, you can move at speeds approaching light. That's no surprise because he can move at speeds approaching light. He can even run for days straight, showing an absurd amount of stamina. Process. Respect that raw speed, why don't you? Ah, you gotta love it. The famous running on helicopter blades feats. Oh, and yeah, running on clouds as well. Just never get old to me. Love it. They once again run to an alternate dimension using the famous cosmic treadmill. Wouldn't it be cool to just be able to run on a cosmic treadmill at ridiculous speed to run into an entirely new universe? And yes, he can literally outrace an explosion and changing his outfit in the process. Sometimes the Flash can get lowballed depending on how you look at it. One of his villains being Grodd, he continually has issues with, and people lowball him. I got a video about Grodd as well. I'm a big fan of finding out how strong the character is based on the opponents they consistently fight. Characters like Grodd are in his rogues gallery, stuff like that. No matter any era, this is just more proof of it. Barry and Wally were running around the world. They were moving so fast, arguing. I like how the designs are uniquely different about Wally and Barry. You know, they were running ridiculously fast. Even states here, that power, that is Highfather. Is that from the source wall? No, something is wrong with the Speed Force Highfather. Yes, they was acting crazy to the point where even freaking Highfather felt it. It was so bad. Superman had to get involved and he couldn't catch up with these two speed demons. Goodness gracious. DC finally has writer intent. This is kind of like newer. I know a lot of people may feel a certain type of way about this list when it comes to raw speed, Superman being faster than a lot of speedster type characters, like even Shazam being way back there. You know, people have their issues with that. But I wouldn't take this too seriously when it comes to the gaps in speed. Like just because somebody's a number 3 on the list doesn't necessarily mean he's 5 billion times faster than number 9 on the list. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think of it like that. Don't think of such a large numbers, right? This still gives you some pretty decent writer intent. I think we all can agree that Wally West being number 1 is fine. Barry Allen being number 2 is also fine. And also Reverse Flash being in that range is fine as well. Barry Allen is evidently the second fastest man alive. That's just fair. There's just plenty of evidence that he's faster than the Man of Steel. It states here, yes, I can see a normal punch coming. I can think 3 moves ahead of everyone but Barry Allen. You know, speed like that. It states here, you're not thinking. You're fast. I'm faster. It's just blunt. The event with Darkseid, Omega beams, him and Superman had to outrun them. That wouldn't have went well. But yeah, he faced a parademon to have the parademon get hit instead of him.
It's little flashy showings like this with his raw speed, sucks an explosion into the atmosphere at speeds approaching light. And this boat was falling really hard. He wanted to slow it down, the descent, with his rotating his hands really fast. I love when he destroys fighters, like the time he KO'd Captain Cold and Heatwave by sucking the air out of their freaking lungs. Literally can produce enough energy to stop a train. I love when stuff like this happens. More proving that he's in them Kryptonian ranges, Superman tier, and just raw power, fighting Supergirl, New 52. Particular occasion. Got tackled here, got like in a little scuffle, but it shows he can hang in there with the big leagues. I like straight on full-blown battlefields like this, showing that he can phase these type of beings. Having her head spinning, she stays here, got to keep my balance. As you can see, panel for panel, blow for blow. It's kind of like a slugfest too. His durability seems to hold up as long as he's moving at super speed, right? As long as he's not stationary. He definitely has better super speed than normal, but he also uses super speed to avoid fatal wounds. Like here, how he stated, if I hadn't vibrated at the last second, your knee might be inside my head. You know what I mean? Letting you know that, yeah, she could do some lethal damage, you know, to fighting. I think it did its job in proving that he's in that range, right? And that one time he was able to carry a tank with him out the Speed Force, and he's not touching the tank. It's getting pulled with him. There's always got to be a nuclear explosion saving feat. Well, Barry saves these folks from a nuclear explosion, saving them in the process. Literal light was chasing Barry. He had outrun it for minutes, showing that he is faster than light. Yeah, I showed this in my Wonder Woman video. Green Lantern bullets, stuff of that sort. One could say the Flash has ultra instinct. He can dodge something even if it's in the process of penetrating his skin, like the time he almost ate a bullet when his instincts kicked in. Sensory neurons are amazing. They take external stimuli and signals to my central nervous system. My body sends pain messages to my brain at such velocity that the femtosecond I feel something, I will react. I can feel the slightest changes in the air pressure around me. Honestly, it almost never comes to that because even a speeding bullet isn't fast enough to catch me off guard. Superman has amazing combat speed. He was able to effortlessly dodge all of his attacks from Superman in New 52 era with relative ease before he started. He pretty much got caught off guard by that flick. He was like, oh, you dodged me. He probably didn't expect that flick, you know? Plus, it wasn't a normal speed flick because that's a Superman flick, right? Makes sense, right? He claims he can evacuate the entire Tokyo in 30 freaking seconds. That's insanity. Plenty of cases dodging attacks from Grodd, fighting on par with beings like Grodd you cannot underestimate, and hitting on multiple time with blitzes. From time to time, I like to just show off Barry just occasion blitz, sticks, chop, raw speed. Even if it
waves of men. Cause y'all are light work. Seriously, you got guns? Night night, get out my face. No air for you? Get this out your hand. Blitzes, no guns. Poor crooks. Thought they had a chance. Even the rogues galleries, taking on multiple rogues galleries, battle feet. Yep, resisting cold with his speed. Could create a lot of heat. Doesn't really matter because he puts in major work against Captain Cold and the rogues galleries. Stuff like that. You see the blitzing, dodging the cold in Flesh Gang. Get murked. Punt during the post-crisis era, which is technically still the same guy, whatever. He can react in less than an attosecond of the famous quote. It states here, I can think at the speed of light, can perceive events that last for less than an attosecond. I can run faster than time, stuff like that. Like, imagine dividing a second by a quintillionth. That's the type of combat speed the Flash has. He's able to free Central City of the Sage Force. He literally went to each individual one by one. Because why not? He's that fast. That's what he has to do. He states, I hate what Trickster did to me. Even ridiculously powered up computer softwares that even Cyborg runs is insane. He even calls it slow, Barry, in comparison. He states, come on, Vic, I've told you, call me Barry. Hey, is it me or is this thing running a little slow? He said, it's you. The Watchtower's computers have a peak performance of over 100 petaflops, which means it can do more work in a minute than a home computer can do in a decade. For those of you keeping score, that's 100,000 trillion calculations per second. And he called it slow and how he can compute things. Talk about speed reading. He does it again, and this occasion goes through every genealogical record. The Flash has an incredible speed mind to the point where he can, it's called the speed brain, one can say. My brain is processing information around me all at the same time. I'm thinking faster. He can think of every possible outcome or scenario and choose the optimal one, the best possible choice. Kind of like a computer simulator. This would kind of help with investigation work. He does this multiple times throughout comics to help him find a way to win, get a situation its best circumstance. It's so bad sometimes that he can even get stuck in it to where somebody might need his help in the real world, but he's too busy in speed mode. Speed mind. He uses this ridiculous algorithm to figure out a way to take on freaking Grodd. That's what we should be seeing in the CW shows instead of him always asking for help from Cisco and stuff. Y'all remember that one time he entered the Speed Force and took Grodd with him? He even uses this speed mind to figure out how to use a Green Lantern ring. He states, but how? I thought only those are chosen could wear the ring. He says, my ring, my rules. He uses his incredible speed to think of or calculate an infinite number of possibilities, and he's relying on the ring to give him the basis, the cliff notes of being a lantern. You can see all the stuff right there in the panel. It's a very strong panel right here. It is so satisfying seeing the Flash with construct creation. Energy blaster with Green Lantern ring style. Isn't that freaking epic? You got to freaking love it. So there's this guy that's bulletproof, but when Barry Allen attacks him, he's able to KO this being, breaks the gun in the process. I showed a little bit of this earlier, but I didn't explain it. Boom, he hit him that hard, the striking power. His battle feats, yeah, it's been a while since I went over some battle feats to show he's in that Superman, Wonder Woman tier. He can punch characters like Wonder Woman, give her a run for the money, I would say. It's a little scuffle here. Draws blood from her in that punch right there. It's pretty accurate to the consistent feats of their lore, though. Does the same to characters like Gorilla Grodd, multiple punches, slams through a train wall, raw power. He's a butthole because he shadowed one of Batman's computer. His striking power is even insane enough to take out multiple Kryptonians, even if they're not necessarily equal to Superman. He's taking out Kryptonians, showing he isn't fleas in comparison to other Kryptonians. I mean, he even punched Grodd hard enough to shatter his armor. Grodd had the Speed Force, stuff like that. Black Flash takes down the Merciless with the Red Death. You know, Captain Cold is actually a problem for Flash, is because in some instances, he actually has like actual ice abilities. He says, where's your guns? Don't need them. So he actually has actual ice abilities in this occasion. I actually prefer this better. He states here, his powers are now part of him. He's bigger and stronger, and I'm slower in this particular occasion. Y'all remember that one time he removed a bullet that was near his heart? Afterwards, he ended up healing instantly. Tell me, that isn't cool. He's got in a battlefield with Black Flash on plenty of occasions. In this particular occasion, he got impaled by Black Flash. Looks lethal. Able to fight on par with him, striking him back. As you can see, he is able to heal from all this mess. He actually has some pretty decent amount of intelligence. I mean, for example, his standard gear, his suit. This is probably one of the best ideas when it comes to battle suits. Literally being able to put a suit in your actual ring. Like literally nobody would expect that, right? It's better than having your clothes under your outfit. Well, if your outfit gets cut or something, they can see your outfit. You know what I'm saying? There's little things like this you got to appreciate. Your suit is made of the same material and I don't feel our Speed Force connection. My armored suit close to Speed Force. It has designed sound receptors that lets him hear things even while moving past the speed of sound. Some interesting dialogue here. The use of my powers is causing a buildup of Speed Force energy that is creating wormholes which tear at the fabric of space and time. Don't judge him, but hey, he built the Flash car. Yeah, I know. Awesome, right? Oh my gosh, this is funny. Driving around the Earth with this Flash car multiple times. This is kind of fun. Hope you're not sick of me saying the word Speed Force in this video. You know, the extra dimensional energy source they get their power from, speedsters. They was pretty much analyzing the anomalies here. Barry was saying stuff, I need to understand the time anomaly and the vortexes that suck things into the Speed Force, and throughout time, I need to know why I'm causing these disasters. It says, no, you're not the problem, you're the solution. States right here, think of the Speed Force as like a giant ball of energy that it's always moving forward, but as it does, it creates excess energy that builds up and needs to be released. When you use your powers, you tap into that built up energy. It states here, things get crazy when the energy builds up, like a pressure cooker that's ready to blow, but then you run and everything goes back to normal. You're the release valve for the Speed Force. The thing that Flash carries gets protected from friction and stuff like that, like I've always said already. Even in New 52 era, it does this as well. You want to know an unfair advantage? How about taking somebody inside the Speed Force and ranking them inside the Speed Force? Another occasion with Grodd when he had Speed Force abilities, stuff like that. It was pretty epic, but that's a home field advantage. Like imagine fighting Mephisto in his own realm, you know? Fighting a speedster in the Speed Force is just basically an instant L. He states right here he can even feel those connected to the freaking Speed Force. Blasts Godspeed off of him in this occasion fighting another speed being. He can produce lightning and generation off of him during combat like I showed with Godspeed. Does this to frozen prison guards. Can electrocute folk on contact, other speedsters, doesn't matter who, just consistent. Gigantic lightning flare with another Kid Flash. Epic incarnate with heat generation because of his lightning. Some speedsters have the ability to manipulate time with and that's why they're fast. Well, tell me why Barry was able to counter this by speeding up the flow of time, stuff like that. States here, you've assumed all I can do is move fast, but I'm also connected to the flow of time, just in a different way. You might be able to slow time, but I move it forward. I've always worried if I ran too fast, I might tear a hole in time and space itself. For example, he accidentally time travels to the future, testing out the raw levels of speed. You might as well say the Flash has intangibility. He can vibrate so fast, objects can literally pass through him, like bullets, for example. Made a plane go through a bridge, made the plane intangible by vibrating it, saving the people in the process. To really get the best idea of how Flash works, you got to get an idea of how the people in the universe are as well. Like other speedsters, like Wally, for example, they can punch at the speed of light and their fists hit like a white dwarf star. Barry should be able to do similar things, should be in them Superman ranges. But also, it's implied that Barry might be one of those few people that have abilities that ignore durability. Phasing could ignore durability completely, like if you phase through somebody's body, if they have no counter to it. He does this on multiple occasions. Imagine if he was bloodlusted, and he's always holding back most of the time because he's a hero. He doesn't want to murder, right? In a battle feat, he does this to Solomon Grundy, blitzes Grundy, destabilizing Grundy, causes him to explode into freaking pieces. He states here, I'm going to let him punch me and vibrate my face at the right frequency. I can destabilize his form. Even Wonder Woman surprised and says, you surprised me, Flash. Never took you for one to deal a lethal blow like that. But they know Grundy, you know, it would be unlike him to do this against somebody like Grundy. He knows he's not really dead for good, right? This is why I can say he kind of ignores durability. He's even able to phase and do major harm to characters like Martian the Manhunter. And not to mention, he's even able to disrupt magical constructs. Speed Force users are no strangers to fighting like Superman tiers like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. I mean, Wonder Woman wouldn't know how strong Superman hits, right? Wonder Woman, who is definitely a Superman tier, durability-wise and everything, unless it's sharp objects, but that's stupid. But yeah, let's not talk about that. It states here, I've been punched by Superman. This hurts more. Being punched at the speed of light will do that. These are speedster-type characters that Barry Allen should be able to replicate when it comes to just punching power, striking power, kicking power, raw speed, being able to use your momentum to increase your punching mass to make your punches harder, stuff like that. You should respect his striking power already, right? But he had temporary power-ups as well, right? He was too overpowered during the Darkseid War. You guys remember this, probably a comic I'm probably planning on going over on the channel. Page by page, kills Darkseid during the Darkseid War, yeah. At this moment, he was definitely past those Skyfather ranges. You know what I'm saying? Must exist for the universe to continue. The Black Racer, yeah, this one he was, yeah, the Black Racer. The Black Racer must run. This has to happen for the universe to continue or it will break and all life will end. It's important. Abstract type stuff. It's crazy how death is actually an aspect that's important. Untethered death will sweep across the universe. It's actually needed. Thought he stopped it. States I outran it. I beat the black racer. No. All I did was release it. Death is free for the first time. Without a tether, it'll spread uncontrolled and there will be no life in the universe. Not anymore. So you actually need death. And then there was that time he accidentally absorbed the negative speed force. Yada yada. This didn't last too long, but he had a different aura and different set of abilities, I would say, right? Fighting Reverse Flash around the world, little zip-zagging, stuff like that, just epic to see. They literally time travel to the formation of Earth. They're literally time traveling and running around the world at the same time. Like, imagine being like running in different decades and fighting somebody through those different decades. Imagine that in film format. That would be kind of epic. Of course, dodging bullets is easy to them, light work. Heck, even bullets turn into ash hitting them, like an aura. Can project lightning. Do me a favor and don't ask. There's the speed force and there's also the strength force. The strength force. Oh my goodness, what is happening, guys? He can take cold blasts when he's connected to the strength force. Like, look how big he is, dude. Look at this. Trickster is empowered by the strength force too, gets slammed. They create shockwaves like a ground smash like the Hulk. Oh my goodness. Can even control the gravity around him. This is crazy. Can match this buffed up Trickster in strength. These new forces they don't understand. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's the thing about the strength force. Awkwardly enough, remember that event I showed you earlier about the Flash and Wally West running around the world calling all that major ruckus? It was actually during all of this mess. They was having an argument. They was moving at godlike speed. Green Lanterns, stuff tried to stop them. Characters like Highfather noticed them. Adam, the Microverse was acting up. Even characters like Zatanna was like, magic isn't doing so hot either, Swamp Thing. They was doing all of this ruckus it was messing up fundamental forces of reality. That Highfather mentioned something that, was a lot of crap going on. Superman couldn't even stop them. It was moving. Green Lantern literally made this wall. This kind of proves that they also in their black hole ranges. They would just ran right through that because they just hitting that hard. It states here, Justice League, the speed force energy they're giving off demolished my construct. They both talking about how he created the Flashpoint paradox and stuff and how he doesn't need to break the speed force to get what he likes. This was all a trick, so Hunter Zolomon could tap into speed, Sage, and the strength forces. Hunter Zolomon had studied the history books and discovered that the speed force and its negative weren't the only cosmic forces, but it wasn't the only cosmic forces in the multiverse. Other cosmic forces lay dormant due to the force barrier. Zoom manipulated Barry Allen and Wally West to running fast enough to break the barrier, which allowed him to be able to do that. It's showing him using Sage Force and the Strength Force. All this ruckus was getting so bad that Flash had to talk to the Council of Flash. Yo, this is kind of one of the awesomest Flash mythos ever. All the other Flashes below say no, they don't even know about it. Even a Wild Wild West Flash. This is just awesomeness. I mean, it's a pretty strong force. People that are usually not a big deal to him are like strong enough to fight him now. You know what I mean? They talk a little bit about the Strength Force here on how the Speed Force struck you with lightning from above, right? Strength Force is from below, having to do with gravity, things like that. They mention right here that the strength force must be based around gravity and the force of motion. His mass is increasing and creating his own gravitational pull, but it's unstable. It states, Flash, the Speed Force bonded with you, Flash, is not doing all that crazy stuff. Yeah, buff. Just the madness. But all goofy stuff aside, no matter which era pre-crisis Superman is, Flash shouldn't be far behind when it comes to just raw output, when it comes to striking power, raw speed, he's faster, things like that. Being in those black hole ranges, if Flash was to punch something that had the density of a solar system, he should be able to crack it or split it, things like that. I mean, just think about the fact that he can harm Superman tears. People that he fights can harm Superman tears, and he's comparable to other characters like Wally West, raw power output that can harm or do fatally wound Superman tears. He even has the ability to ignore durability with phasing, molecular hacks, has complete control over his molecules. I mean, if you turn him into butter, he can turn himself back. I mean, really? He can phase, aka basically just go intangible. He should be able to strike with easily 53 quadrillion megatons of force as a low ball, aka the ability to destroy the entire Earth if you wanted to with just one strike. His battle feats suggest all of this, able to harm Martian Manhunter, Gorilla Grodd, phasing, can go through. He should be able to just punch with over millions or even billions of times earth-shattering of force, being in that black hole ranges. You know what I mean? That's how strong these DC characters are. What do you guys think? I know I've been bouncing all over the place in all the different continuities, but hey, he's even so fast. He was called upon by Highfather himself, the being equal to Darkseid, Skyfather tier being, that guy, called to help join Metron and Light Rail on a quest to enter the Source to save Orion because he was the only one fast enough to do so. It states here, I never considered High Father might enlist the aid of an Earthman. He did his thing in this endeavor. Raw speed. One can say that the Speed Force users are actual literal gods because of the amount of control they have over fate. It's quite insane when you think about it. Literally changing the fate of his mom literally created a whole different universe. So changing the past has ridiculous ramifications, so it's not something that would be a good idea to spam, which is the Flashpoint paradox, creating a whole different universe, everything being drastically different in the process. That's why in versus battles, people can bring up the fact that, oh yeah, Flash could just time travel and kill the bad guys a kid and just kill them. Like in the versus battle, you can change your fate type of things, very hacksy. And Flash does have some combat training. He states here, I gotta do like Batman here and fight them with sheer fighting paralysis. I hope they know nothing about judo, he says. Believe it or not, it is indeed implied that he has a decent amount of fighting skills. Not that he needs it moving that fast, you ain't gonna be able to see his punch coming, but shoot, if he needs to use some type of fighting skills, he can use it. During World War II, with the Black Hawk Squadron, he fought alongside these beings and did endure their training. So he does have some combat experience, other than just raw speed, of course. So basically, no matter how you look at it, the Flash is at the top of the totem pole. I mean, just that feat alone of him doing all that stuff during the Crisis on Infinite Earths event with Antimatter just automatically puts him on that level. Pretty much proven, or even other Flash members to be in that. Wonder Woman or Superman tiers. Heck, even Wonder Woman said it out of her mouth that a Speed Force user's punches that Barry should be comparable to punches felt harder than Superman's, right? She's fought Superman, so she has validation to say that. Not to mention whatever Wonder Woman can do in speed, Flash can do better. Barry Allen is no exception to this. Wonder Woman has speed feats that put her in the quintillions of times faster than light. Speeds when it comes to combat, like this feat in particular with the God Shards, all these beams of light, and she's blocking every single one of them at the same time. Just raw speed. Barry should be even faster than this by quite a substantial gap too when it comes to raw speed. I mean, that's his shining attribute of speed, but what do you guys think? Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Are you guys glad I finally released another Flash video? Hopefully this is your cup of tea. But if you're new to the channel, check out those playlists and make sure you binge watch more stuff like this because there's more to offer on this channel. But I will see you guys later.